I'm just trying to work that out. I mean,
Ha, gotcha.
you have got me. I'm trying to work that through in my head. Yeah, it took a while.
It did, yeah.
Took a while.
Hey guys, so today I wanted to take some time to talk about a video that I recently just watched with Dr. Jordan B. Peterson on Channel 4 News, which is a news station based in the United Kingdom. And in the video, which is a half an hour long, he is being interviewed by a woman by the name of Cathy Newman, who is one of their anchors. And being interviewed is kind of a loose term for what this video was, because it was more just her grilling him on things that he's been accused of doing over the course of the past year as he has come to notoriety, not necessarily by his intention. But I didn't want to necessarily focus on what the content of those debates were, but more so why things seem to kind of go off the rails and what can be learned from that. So let's take a look at the first clip.
And why in the world would you not want a competent partner? Well, I know why, actually. You can't dominate a competent partner. So if you want domination...
want to dominate, is that what you're saying?
No, I'd say women who have had their relationships impaired, their relationships with men impaired, and who are afraid of such relationships will settle for a weak partner because they can dominate them. But it's a suboptimal solution.
Do you think that's what a lot of women are doing?
I think there's a substantial minority of women who do that. And I think it's very bad for them. They're very unhappy. It's very bad for their partners, although the partners get the advantage of not having to take any responsibility.
Okay, let's take a minute to think about that for a second. What he has just done is he has laid out a few interesting bits of information. You know, when I first watched this video, I didn't know that stuff was true. You know, I didn't realize that, you know, that was going on within our society, within the minds of women and within the minds of men. And so, you know, a natural first response would be, that's really interesting, let me think about that. But this is her response.
But what gives you the right to say that? I mean, maybe that's how women want their relationships, those women. I mean, you're making these vast generalizations.
Number one, she says, making these vast generalizations. Throughout this entire video, she accuses him of making vast generalizations continually, and then about a minute or two later proceeds to make her own vast generalizations. But more importantly, she doesn't, her initial response isn't to let the information absorb and to think about what he has just said. Her initial response is, what gives you the right to say that? Okay, she is immediately criticizing him for what he has said, not as an opinion. You know, it's not him saying, I believe this. It's him saying, this is something that's been observed. And I'll play the clip with, you know, the last bit of her speaking and then his response, but I think his response is pretty golden.
But what gives you the right to say that? I mean, maybe that's how women want their relationships, those women. I mean, you're making these vast generalizations.
I'm a clinical psychologist.
Right, so you're saying you've done your research and women are unhappy dominating men.
I didn't say they were unhappy dominating men. I said it was a bad long-term solution.
Okay, you said it was making them miserable.
Thing. Yes, it is. And it depends on the time frame. I mean, there's intense pleasure in momentary domination. That's why people do it all the time. But it's no formula for a successful long-term relationship. That's reciprocal, right? Any long-term relationship is reciprocal, virtually by definition. So
let me put a quote to you from the book.
See, the reason why I love that response is because in 4 words, Peterson manages to disable her previous argument and establish his own credibility, which is kind of unnecessary considering the fact that, you know, if this woman has read the book, which I would assume, if not just hope that she has, considering throughout the interview she is reading passages from the book and asking questions on it, or if she's looked into him at all as a person, she would know that he's a credible human being. You know, she introduced him by saying, Dr. Jordan Peterson. You know, his doctorate is in clinical psychology. You know, he's a professor at the University of Toronto. Okay, you don't get to those positions without being good at what you're doing, knowing what the hell you're talking about, and, you know, not presenting false information, which he's not. Now, the reason why this is so important is because it's not only is it common courtesy, but it's just not smart to challenge someone who has more information on a subject than you about something that you should know you don't know all of the information about, at least not to their level. Okay, what should be happening in this situation is she asks questions, he responds, and then she acknowledges the information, retains it, and then asks a follow-up, maybe related, maybe not. But what she's doing is she's trying to continually get him to say something that she can pivot and turn back on him to prove herself right. Okay, the reason why I wanted to make this video is because that is excessively popular, not only just in this scenario, in a professional scenario, but it's really popular in just day-to-day life. Okay, people love to be right. I love to be right. I'm not a huge fan of being wrong. Okay, and, you know, generally during an argument, if I'm feeling like, you know, I'm wrong, and of course I'm going to be, you know, I'll feel a little bummed. It's like, oh, I didn't know everything about this topic. That's, you know, kind of upsetting. But what people need to do more, and I mean, trust me, I'm not perfect at this. I'm 19, you know, I'm still learning plenty. But the key to being a good conversationalist, and especially a good debater, is you don't get emotional at that point. You know, you don't let that sink in that I was wrong. I need to do something. I need to show that I'm smart, that I'm right. No. Okay. You have to approach either a conversation or a debate with the intention of saying, my goal is not to prove that I am right, but to try and learn something new. It's only once the debate has begun and you are presented with the information that they have and you have presented your information that who is right will rise to the surface. And usually it doesn't matter whether you think you're right or they think they're right. It's whoever else in the room is listening. That's who determines who's right. Because in the end, you can think you're right all day long, but if no one else agrees with you, either you have a flaw in the way that you're presenting that argument, or maybe you're presenting the wrong argument. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you liked it, appreciate it if you left a like. If you really liked it, I'd appreciate you sharing it, just so helps with growth, and, you know, hopefully we can get more people learning. And yeah, if you want to watch more in the future, consider subscribing. That'd be great. Until next time, my name's Aiden, and I hope you have a wonderful day.